you can visit our website for the commands in the videos. If you want to purchase other study materials like packet tracer files and other course guidelines, then you can email to us. Follow us on Facebook for further updates. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe so I can quickly deliver more videos on various topics. Hi all. So now today we can start to check about the default routing features. So initially, let's check what we have done in the static routing part. Okay. So when I enter inside the router 1, I can go to the privilege mode and type show IP route. So I can check the routing table of router R1. Okay. So in this you can see there are directly connected route for 10 dot network and 195.100.100 network, and static routes for 20.0, 30.0 and 196.100.100 and 197.100.100. So for this router R1, these networks are the networks he can send traffic to. Okay. Whenever a packet comes for these destinations, he will check his routing table and he will figure out where to send that particular traffic. For example, via the next hop IP address or the SCT address. He will check that one and he will forward the packet to particular link or IP address. Okay. So just imagine if there is a routing is coming for destination which is not in the route table. Generally what the router R1 does, he will simply drop the packet. Okay. Let's say for example, in this entire topology, there is no 192.168.50.0, right? I have only 10.0, 20.0 and 30 and 40. I didn't assign anything for 50.0. So if the traffic is coming for the destination of 192.168.50.0, the router 1 will check its route table. In its route table, there is no 50.0. What he does is, this router will just simply drop the packet. Okay. This is the normal scenario. Just think, if router 1 doesn't have 50.0, but router 2 is having a 50.0 network, a scenario like that. Let's say I have connected a PC to this router 2 and attached the interface with IP address 192.168.50.0. Let me show you that. Taking a laptop, connecting the cable. Router is a MAC device, switch is a MAC device. So let me go for the crossover cable and go for it 1, 1 and 0. So now you can see the link is down because I haven't assigned IP or anything. So I can go to the router's F11 port and just graphically I am doing this because to save some time. Okay. So if you wanted to know how to configure the interface IP via commands and all, you can simply refer my initial videos. There you will understand how to assign modules to routers or and how to assign PCs, IP addresses, default gateways. Each and every initial configuration has been given in the initial videos. Okay. Just keep practicing and update yourself into it. IPv4 on F11 port, you are assigning IP 192.168.50.1. Okay. So remember, this is the router's interface. This 50.1 IP address is going to be the default gateway for the particular PC. Okay. 192.168.50.15 or 100 or anything I can do. I just go for 250. Okay, to just let you understand why I am giving this. So for the default gateway part, I can give 192.168.50.1. Okay. So now you can check the route table of router 2. You can simply tell router 2 will have the 50 dot network in its route table. Why? Because the 50 dot PC is directly connected to this router. Okay. So you don't need to specify the 50 dot network manually. It is already available there because it's directly connected. So let's check that. So duration and type show IP route. So you can see directly connected. C means connected. Okay. And 192.168.50 dot connected on F114. Okay. That you can have an idea how it's working. So now whenever traffic is designed for 50 dot network, if it reaches router 2 automatically knows how to transfer the traffic. Okay. But router 1 still doesn't know how to transfer the traffic to the router 2, which is destined for 192.168.50 dot network. Okay. So what is the solution for this? Whenever a packet destined for 192.168.50 dot network, router 1 must forward it to the next router without dropping the packet. Okay. This is the scenario where we use the default route. Okay. Whenever an unknown packet comes, which is out of the route table entries, don't drop it, just forward it to the next router. That is the scenario. Okay. So we are going to configure a default route in the router 2, and then you will use the next hop address as the router 2's network next hop IP address. Okay. So configure the default route on router 1 and use the next hop as router 2's incoming IP address. Okay. So you can check here. It is mentioning in router 1 gateway of last resort is not set, which means there is no default route set up. Once after you set up a default route, you can see gateway of last resort and the IP address of the router 2's incoming interface will be shown. And also here in the route table, you will have an entry with S star, which means which references default route. Okay, static default route. So we see how to configure the default route. The command is very similar to static route. You can write IP route any IP address, which means 0.0.0.0. Okay. Next, any subnet mask. So again 0.0.0.0. Next part, you are going to give next hop IP address, which is the router's F00 ports IP address. Okay. Definitely it's going to be 195.100.102. Okay. So let me type 195.100.102. So this is the command to set up a default route for router R1. So I have entered and I am going to the previous mode and typing show IP route again. So now you can see gateway of last resort is 195.100.102 to any network. That is why it is showing 0.0.0.0. Okay. So any network except the networks in the route table. If there is no route in the route table, he will forward the packet to this particular interface. IP address 195.100.102. Okay, and you can see here as S star, which means the default route, and any network, any subnet mask, and this portion is admin distance 1 and metric value 0, which I will explain later, and to reach via the 195.100.102. Okay, and now if there is a packet aimed at 192.168.50 network, the packet will not be dropped. It will be forwarded to the next hop IP address. Okay, so let's see that. Go to PC1 and ping the 192.168.50.250. Okay. You need to get the reply from 50.network. Okay. So the initial 2 packets got dropped because time out because of the address resolution protocol. After that, the packet got pinged. Okay. Again, if I try, now all 4 packets will be pinged. Okay. Also, if you wanted to check pinging continuously, you can type ping space -t space 192.168.50.250. Okay. So ping -t is the continuous ping command. So continuously it will keep ping. By this way, you can check your port attached to the switch in real life. That is what we are doing. We will run a continuous ping command and unplug cables one by one from the switches, and we can check whether the particular cable is attached to which port like that. In case if there is no any other way, we can simply use this manual. Okay. So if you do that, if you unplug the particular cable, here you will see some packet drops, and then you can reattach it and check whether the packets are pinging or not. Okay. So now, to stop this continuous pinging, press Ctrl C. Okay. So for 50 network, now the packets are forwarded without dropping. And also, I didn't show you all what happens if there's a traffic without default drop, what happens, and now I need to show that. So let me show it from the other PC. So as you know, router 3 doesn't have any default route configured. Okay. So go to privilege and show IP route. You can see router 3 doesn't have a default route. Okay. And also it doesn't know how to reach 192.168.50.network. So let's try to ping from this server to the 50.network. Ping 192.168.50.250. So it's showing destination and result. When you haven't configured any default route on the router will check its route table, and if there is no route for the particular network, simply he will drop the packet. Okay. So that is why destination unreached message is appearing. If I have configured a default route on router 3, then he will forward the packet. Okay. Also, another next point I will inform you all on default route side. Let's see this image. Let's say you have attached a PC for 50.250, right? 250, which means 192.168.50.250, as I showed earlier. So when this PC A tries to ping the 50.250. The packets are going to reach this router 1 and he will check his route table and figure out the default route, and the next stop IP is 195.100.102. So immediately he will forward it to the 195.100.102. The second router, since the 50. Network is directly connected, he automatically knows about 50.250. So he is going to forward it to the particular piece. Okay. So this is the scenario. Now let's consider what happens if you wanted to configure default route for the second router as well. This is router 1 and this one is router 2. Here the 1, 3 and router 4. So the second router, you are configuring the next stop as 196.100.102 for the default route. Okay. So you are saying there is an unknown traffic from here or here to this particular router, he will forward it to this line, which means 196.100.102. And similarly, the third router, if there is an unknown traffic, you are configuring it to forward to the next router. Okay, like this. So now tell me, what would you do to configure a default router on router R4? If you guess like to configure a default router with 0.0.0.0 and next stop IP address of 197.100.101, like that. If you guess like that, what happens? This third router, whenever an unknown traffic comes, he will forward it to the next router, which means router R4. Okay, and router R4 takes that traffic, and still if router R4 doesn't know about that route, what he does, he will forward it to the router R3. Okay, so in between router R3 and R4, there will be a loop like this. So this router R3 will be forwarding to router R4 and router R4 will be forwarding to router R3. Continuously they keep on staying in a loop. Okay. So in such scenarios, you must understand what is the purpose of we are using default route. Okay. Just simply as an explanation thing, there are stub networks in companies. For example, just imagine a router R5 and 2 switches.
You can visit our website for the commands in the videos. If you want to purchase other study materials like packet tracer files and other course guidelines, then you can email to us.